Hey everybody, my name is Michael, and we're going to start off at Joshua 18 today. This is the vision of the rest of the land. The whole assembly of the Israelites gathered at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. The country was brought under control. But there were still 7 Israelite tribes who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you wait before you begin to take possession of the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe. I will send them out to make a survey of the land and write a description of it according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me. You are to divide the land into 7 parts. Judah is to remain in its territory on the south, and the tribes of Joseph in the territory of the north. After you have written descriptions of the 7 parts of the land, bring them here to me, and I will cast lots for you in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, do not get a portion among you, because the priestly service of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad, Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have already received their inheritance on the east side of the Jordan. Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave it to them." As the men started on their way to map out the land, Joshua instructed them, "Go make a survey of the land and write a description of it. Then return to me, and I will cast lots for you here at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men left and went through the land. They wrote its description on a scroll, town by town, in 7 parts, and returned to Joshua in the camp at Shiloh. Joshua then cast lots for them in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord, and there he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their tribal divisions. Allotment for Benjamin. The first lot came up for the tribe of Benjamin according to its clans. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side of their boundary began at the Jordan, past the northern slope of Jericho, and headed west into the hill country, coming out at the wilderness of Bethaven. From there it crossed to the south slope of Luz and Bethel and went down to Ataroth Adar on the hill south of the lower Beth Horon. From the hill facing Beth Horon on the south, the boundary turned south along the western side and came out at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, a town of the people of Judah. This is the western side. The southern side began at the outskirts of Kiriath Jearim on the west, and the boundary came out at the spring of the waters of Nephatoah. The boundary went down to the foot of the hill facing the valley of Ben-Hanim, north of the valley of Rephaim, and it continued down the Hinnom Valley along the southern slope of the Jebusite city, and so to En-Rogel. It then covered the north, went to En-Shemesh, continued to Gileoth, which faces the path of Adumim, and ran down to the stone of Bahon, son of Reuben. Yes, thank you very much for my pronunciation. It then went to the northern slope of Beth Haglah, and came out to the northern bay of the Dead Sea at the mouth of the Jordan in the south. This was the southern boundary. The Jordan formed the boundary on the eastern side, rather. These were the boundaries that marked out the inheritance of the clans of Benjamin, all sides. The tribe of Benjamin, according to its clans, had the following towns. Jericho. Still had Jericho. So, I don't know. I thought Jericho was never supposed to be rebuilt. But maybe that was a figurative thing. I don't know. Beth Hogla, Emek, Kiziz, Beth Araba, Zemarim, Bethel, Avim, Para, Ophrah, Kephar, Amanai, Ophni, Geba, 12 towns and their villages, Gibeon, Ramah, Beroth, Mizpah, Kephorah, Moza, Rechem, Irpeel, Talala, Zelah, Heleph, the Jebusite city that is in Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kirath, 14 towns and their villages. This was the inheritance of Benjamin for its clans. The second lot came out for the tribe of Simeon according to its clans. This is chapter 19. Their inheritance lay within the territory of Judah. It included Beersheba or Sheba, Moladah, Hazar, Shual, Bala, Ezim, Elatolad, Bethel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Markaboth, Hazar, Shusa, Beth Laboath, Sharuthin, 13 towns and their villages, On, Rimmon, Ether, and Ashen, 4 towns and their villages, and all the villages around the towns as far as Baalath Beer. Excuse me. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the Simeonites according to its clans, and the inheritance of the Simeonites was taken from the share of Judah because Judah's portion was more than they needed. So the Simeonites received their inheritance within the territory of Judah. So Judah had a very abundant inheritance. Must have been very abundant because Judah's like a big clan, so it must have been quite the inheritance. The third lot came up to Zebulun according to its clans, and the boundary of their inheritance went up as far as Sarid. Going west, it ran to Maralah, touched Dabasheth, and extended to the ravine near Joachim. It turned east from Sarid toward the sunrise to the territory of Kisloth Tabor and went on to Daberith up to Japhia. Then it continued eastward to Gath Hephar and Eth Kazan. It came out on Rimmon and turned toward Nahia. There the boundary went around the north to Hanathan and ended at the valley of Ifta-El, including where Katath, Nahalel, Shimron, Idalah, Bethlehem, and Bethlehem. There were 12 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were the inheritance of Zebulun according to its clans. And now this is the allotment of Issachar. The fourth lot came out from Issachar according to its clans, and their territory included Jezreel, Kesalith, Shunim, Hapharaim, Shion, Anaharath, Rabbath, Kishon, Ebiz, Remeth, En-Ganim, En-Hada, and Beth Paziz. The boundary touched Tabor, Shahamahu, and the Beth Shemesh, and ended up at the Jordan. There were 16 towns and their villages. The towns that their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Issachar according to its clans. Allotment for Asher. The fifth lot came out for the tribe of Asher according to its clans. Their territory included Helkah, Hali, Betin, Aksha, Alamek, Ahmad and Meshel on the west side, and the boundary touched Carmel and Shahar Libnath. It then turned east towards Beth Dagon, touched Zebulun in the valley of Iphath El, and went north to Beth Emek and Nel, passing Kabul on the left. It went to Abdon, Rehob, and Hamon and Kana as far as the greater Sidon, and the boundary then turned back towards Ramoth and went to the fortified city of Tyre, turned toward Hasath, and came out at the Mediterranean Sea in the region of Agsib, Umah, Aphek, and Rohab. There were 22 towns and their villages. These towns and their villages were in the inheritance of the tribe of Asher according to its clans. Now this is the allotment of Naphtali. The sixth lot came out for Naphtali according to its clans. Their boundary went from Hephalah and the large tree in Zananim, passing Adamin, Nekib, and Jabnel, Lacham, and ended up at the Jordan. The boundary ran west of Asnath Tabor and came out at Hukkok. And it touched Zebulun on the south, Asher on the west, and Jordan on the east. The fortified towns were Ziddim, Zer, Hamath, Rachab, Kinnereth, Adamoth, Ramah, Hazar, Kedis, Eri, En Hazar, Iron, Migdal, El, Horam, Beth Anith, and Beth Shemesh. There were 19 towns and their villages, and their towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Naphtali, according to its clans. And now this is the allotment for Dan. The seventh lot came out from the tribe of Dan, according to its clans, and the territory of their inheritance included Zorah, Eshtaol, Ir Shemish, Shala ben Aljalan, Ithla, Elon, Timnah. Some deep biblical interpretation. Elon is there. Timnah, Ekron, Elatilith, Gibbethan, Baalath, Jehud, Ben, Barak, Gath, Rimmon, Medjeker, and Rakan, with the area facing Joppa. When the territory of the Danites was lost to them, they went up and attacked Leshem, took it, put it to the sword, and occupied it. They settled in Leshem and named it Dan after their ancestor. Joppa is definitely, I want to say that's a city that we still hear about a lot in the news. Their towns and their villages were the inheritance of the tribe of Dan, according to its clans. Now we have an allotment for Joshua, which is interesting, because Joshua is not a tribe. So when they finished dividing up the land in the allotted portions, the Israelites gave Joshua, son of Nun, an inheritance among them. It's like a bonus that he got, as the Lord had commanded. They gave him the town he asked for, Timnath, Zerah, in the hill country of Ephraim, and he built up the town and settled there. These are the territories of Eleazar and the priest, Joshua, son of Nun, and the heads of the tribal clans of Israel, assigned by Lot at Shiloh in the presence of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting. So they finished dividing the land. All right. That is 18 and 19. I think we'll leave it there. Well, that's my bird in the background, by the way. Is he going to be able to keep it under control? Give me 1 second. I think I'm going to put him in the bathroom. Hey, come on, buddy. You were quiet the whole time. That's my bird. Now he's going away. This is my second bird, and he's gonna go away too, because I bet he'll get all right. Thanks for the patience. I thought they could hold it together. They did on the previous video, but I guess not. So anyway, it does feel kind of dry, doesn't it? Like naming off all of those things, but let's just go back to those 3 questions that we're going to circulate this entire time as we read the Bible. There are other ways of studying the Bible that we can talk about, and we probably will, but I think most basically, like the easiest ones to remember is what is being said, how is it being said, and why is it being said that way. And of course, what we're seeing here is this is a historical log of inheritance that God gave each tribe. And why is it being said that way? Well, I'm giving the most charitable interpretation of this. If you're a skeptic, you may not interpret it the way that I do, but I've come to conclude that I really need this book in my life, and that I do believe what it says. And so what I see here is a historical log of real events. And I also see a God that is anxious to give an inheritance to his children. And not just a small inheritance, but a generous, kind of like almost opulent inheritance. Like, might even seem excessive to some, but it's beautiful. Like how much hardship the Israelites endured, and now they're reaping some of those rewards and seeing how generous this God is who delivered them from Egypt. All over again, they're being reminded of this God's generosity. So that's pretty beautiful. And even on top of that, Joshua gets his own inheritance, you know. So that's also beautiful. Let me pray. Lord, just thank you again for this opportunity to read your word. Pray for anybody watching this that they are able to hold on to hope. If they're in a low place, if they're in a pretty good place, Lord, thank you for that as well. And may they be able to see and almost find a childish wonder of the beauty of your word. Pray all these things in your name. Amen. See you guys on the next one. Catch you later.